beautiful afternoon to you and welcome to the World News. My name is Chidima Orangwa. Governors of the southeastern states have lampooned the federal government in implementation of projects in the zone, saying the center has changed states in the region in the implementation of capital projects in the 2017 budget. This is even as the Senate alleged that the major cause of the friction between it and the executive arm was the funding of projects, mostly constituency projects, since the National Assembly appropriated funds for them. Correspondent Chidima Ikanyo completes the story.
Southeast governors said they were interested in the 2017 approved budget because it was linked with the 2017-2020 Economic Recovery and Growth Plan of the present administration. The governors bared their minds through the Director General of Southeast Governors Forum, Professor Simon Utuanya, who presented a monetary report on performance of the 2017 federal capital budget in the Southeast. Utuanya said the capital project implementation in 2017 did not fare well at all in Southeast states, as the roads have remained impassable, and so the federal government should please do better in 2018, hoping that they would make the improvement. Speaking in the same forum, Southeast Senate caucus leader Senator Inaya Abaribe stated that their major challenge in the National Assembly is the fight with the executive arm on zonal intervention projects. He noted that the reason budgets don't perform was the fact that there is a mismatch of the needs of the people to what somebody else wants just to impress somebody else. Abaribe said the report was necessary to show the world that the National Assembly members put in enough effort in oversight of the implementation of projects. But the federal government was quick to rebut this, as both the Minister of Information and Culture, Alhaji Lai Mohammed, and his Power Works and Housing counterpart, Babatunde Fashola, said it was an unfortunate claim from governors who are aware of government's intervention in the region. I am Chidimi Kanyo for ABS News.
Imo State Police Command has smashed a child trafficking syndicate, arrested 8 suspects and rescued 11 children, including 2-day-old twins. According to the statement by the command's public relations officer, Mr. Andrew Nwarem, the arrests were effected between July 24 and August 17. We have details from our studios.
The PPRO gave the names of the rescued children as Somtochukwu, 9, his sister Kosarachi, 7, who were stolen from their parents at Akokwa, Idato North Local Government Area of Imo State on August 15. Others are Onyechi, stolen from Port Harcourt, River State on November 30, 2014. Divine, stolen at St. Michael's Catholic Church on Imo. 4-year-old Habib and 2-year-old Wumi, suspected to have been stolen from Sabo Ajangbadi area of Lagos State. The rest, according to the police image maker, are 5-year-old Chisere and Ndubisi, whose age has remained unverified, while according to the PPRO, the most pathetic is the 2-year-old twin babies, a boy and a girl, stolen from their parents by the criminals. The PPRO gave the names of the suspects as Ikwete, Lucy Ann, and Theresa Asiebu, both of Umekpa Ozu, Uruala, Idato North Local Government Area of Imo State, as well as Chioma Emeka from Umuanumoke, Okigwe Local Government Area of the same state. Equally mentioned in the list are Happiness Peter from Iyala, Ogoja, Cross River State, Martina Nwadike of Agbo Park, Benin City, Edo State, Mata Ojimba, a native of Ungbe, Olu Local Government Area of Imo State, as well as Chizoba Eze and Amake Eze, both of Ngwo, Udi Council Area of Enugu State. He said the suspects have confessed to have sold some of the children for between 300,000 naira and 600,000 naira before they were arrested, appealing to parents or guardians whose child and children are missing to report to the Police Public Relations Department of the State Police Command.
Uganda's army has made a rare apology after soldiers were caught on film beating up a journalist who was covering a demonstration supporting detained MP Bobby Wine on Monday. The beating carried on even after Mr. Akena put his hands up and fell to his knees, while all the journalists were also beaten as they were reporting on the protest. An army statement described the soldiers' conduct as unprofessional and said they will be arrested. There has been political tension in Uganda after Wine and 4 opposition MPs were arrested last week. Wine, who was a well-known position before being elected as independent MP last year, is leading possibly the first major popular movement against President Yoweri Museveni by young people. Most Ugandans alive today were not yet born when Mr. Museveni came to power in 1986. Earlier, New York-based Human Rights Watch called on the Ugandan police and military to stop attacks on the media and respect the rights of all protesters. Wine, whose real name is Robert Kuganyani, remains in detention and is due to appear before a military court on Thursday on charges of unlawfully possessing firearms. President Museveni has dismissed the report that Wine had suffered serious injuries as fake news. Report says poultry farmers in South Africa and the U.S. are pushing for the imposition of a tit-for-tat trade barriers as the row over American trade policy increases. In 2016, the two countries resolved a row over the chicken trade after South Africa allowed a quota of 65 tons of meat to be imported tariff-free every year. South African poultry farmers want their deal to end after the U.S. decided not to exclude the country's steel and aluminium exports from its new tariffs. James Sumner, president of the USA Poultry and Egg Export Council, said that it would push for retaliation if South Africa changed its policy. And still moving on, authorities of the Democratic Republic of Congo have approved the use of 4 experimental Ebola treatments in 2 provinces, while 75 people tested positive and 32 died. 10 patients have already received doses of previously approved treatment, which consist of antibodies from a survivor, and patients are reportedly showing signs of progress. The ongoing vaccination campaign in DR Congo's northeastern states, Kivu and Ituri provinces, faces significant challenges. This is the 10th outbreak in the country, but the first is in a conflict zone. The World Health Organization has called for a cessation of hostilities to allow access to some of the affected areas to administer treatments. Children have been particularly affected by this outbreak. At least 6 of the confirmed cases concern people younger than 14. Neighboring Uganda, Rwanda, Burundi, and Tanzania are on high alert as there is significant border, trade, and cross-border movement into this densely populated part of DR Congo. Zimbabwe's Constitutional Court is due to hear a legal challenge from the opposition MDC alliance to the election victory of President Emmerson Mnangagwa, who won by just more than 30,000 votes to avoid a rerun election. The MDC alliance has accused the ruling ZANU-PF party of rigging July's poll, which was the first since the ousting of former President Robert Mugabe last year. The Electoral Commission has said there was no skullduggery involved in the compiling of the vote. President Mnangagwa has urged the court to throw out the opposition appeal, which has already caused the postponement of his inauguration. The court is due to make a decision by Friday. Opposition leader Nelson Chamisa tweeted that his legal team is ready to defend their vote. According to reports, Malawian opposition activist Manis Dawood is due to appear in court after being detained at the airport in the capital, Lilongwe, on her way to U.S. where she is based. Ms. Dawood is a member of the new opposition United Transformation Movement, which was recently launched by Vice President Salos Chilima after they left the governing party. President Peter Mutharika has warned that he has had enough from his critics and promised that he will act. Ms. Dawood appeared to have fallen victim to this, but the charges against her have not been confirmed. The president is due to run for re-election next year. And from the world of entertainment, report says Danny Boyle has exited the 25th James Bond movie over creative differences. The film is due for release on October 25 next year in Britain, with Universal handling the international distribution, but MGM and EON Productions plan to release it in the US on November 8, 2019. It was not immediately clear whether Boyle's exit would delay the production, with filming expected to begin in December. He was no announcement on Boyle's replacement, but the producers were said to be interested in admired Scottish director David McIntyre, Hell or High Water, and Denis Villeneuve's Blade Runner 2049 before the Transporting and Slumdog Millionaire director was hired. Boyle, 61, who won an Academy Award in 2009 for Slumdog Millionaire, was due to partner again with screenwriter John Hurt on the new movie. A diplomatic tussle is underway over the tiny southern African country of Swahili, formerly known as Swaziland. The country is Taiwan's last remaining African ally. China, which doesn't allow countries to have official ties with both itself and Taiwan, has said it wants the country to establish diplomatic links with Beijing, but Taiwan says its relationship with the African nation is extremely firm. Officials from the country agree that there are no plans to switch allegiance. Taiwan, with China considered its own territory, has a dwindling number of official partners, just 17 at present. On Tuesday, El Salvador pledges support for Beijing. About 30,000 Australian Muslims gathered in Sydney yesterday to pray for an end to what has been called the worst drought in living memory. Worshippers from 16 mosques came together in a show of solidarity and unity with farmers and others affected by the drought. The event, which took place at the end of Eid al-Adha, had also known as the Festival of Sacrifice, served as a fundraising campaign for affected farmers. The event was organized by the Lebanese Muslim Association at the Lakenbach Mosque in Western Sydney. Ahmed Malas, director of the Lebanese Muslim Association, said that the atmosphere at the event was very positive. He said rain prayers are often said during times of drought. Eid al-Adha is considered the second most important festival in the Muslim calendar and runs from the 21st to 25th August. More than half of the neighboring Queensland is also in drought, while parts of Victoria and South Australia are also experiencing dry conditions. Prime Minister Malcolm Turnbull has warned that the country has become a land of droughts. Saudi Arabia's public prosecutor has reportedly sought the death penalty for 5 activists, including the female rights defender Isra al-Ghogam. Human Rights Watch say they recently went on a trial as a terrorism tribunal on charges including participated in protests in the restive Qatif region, a scene of demonstrations by the minority Shia Muslim community. Mr. Ghogam, who is believed to be the first Saudi woman to possibly face the death penalty for rights-related work, was arrested in December 2015 with her husband, and they have been led to Dammam al-Bahati prison ever since. Human Rights Watch was warned that it set a dangerous precedent for other women activists currently behind bars in the Gulf Kingdom, noted that at least 13 human rights defenders and women's rights activists have been arrested since mid-May, accused of activities deemed a risk to national security. Members of the Shia community have taken to the streets to complain about the discrimination they say they face from the Sunni-led government. The public prosecutor accused Ms. Ghogam and the other 4 activists of charges including participated in protests in the Qatif region, incitement to protests, chanting slogans hostile to the regime, attempting to inflame public opinion, filming protests and publishing on social media, and providing moral support to rioters. The prosecutor reportedly called for them to be given the death penalty at the start of the trial based on the Islamic legal principle of Tazia, under which the judge has discretion over what constitutes a crime and over the sentence. And for sports news, the first big week convicted in the United States in the FIFA corruption scandal that disgraced world footballer awaited sentencing on Wednesday. Marin was convicted for accepting bribes from sports marketing companies in exchange for contracts to broadcast major tournaments like the Copa America. He was one of the FIFA executives arrested in May 2015 at a luxury hotel in Zurich in a raid requested by the United States. U.S. prosecutors Prosecutors are seeking 10 years in prison and a $6.6 million fine for Jose Maria Mervin, 86, the former president of the Brazilian Football Federation. Citing his age and frail health, prosecutors are asking that he be sentenced to 13 months in prison. U.S. District Court Judge Pamela Chen was expected to announce a decision. The U.S. probe revealed the corrupt, ugly underbelly of world football and the lavish lifestyle of FIFA executives who traveled around in private planes and were treated like royalty as they arrived for conferences in places like the Bahamas or Mauritius. And that's it on the news, but before we go, a quick reminder that you can follow news and programs from any parts of the world by logging onto our website www.absradiotv.com. You can also like us at www.facebook.com/ABS Radio Television and follow us on Twitter and Instagram at ABS Radio TV. Thank you so much for joining us on the News at 3. My name is Chidinma Oranwa. Enjoy the rest of your day.